If you ever thought that you could do better either professionally or personally, then this video is for you. If you ever walk back into a room with a bunch of people you know and you kind of get this feeling that the tone shifted, there's like a weird silence maybe, and you're just not sure, maybe they were just talking about you or they're talking about something and you might even say, what, or you just kind of like not really sure, you just get that feeling that's just horrible feeling that somebody are talking about you and the conversation stopped because it was obviously negative and they didn't want you to hear. I want you to think about how that felt, how you felt about them and that moment and the atmosphere and everything about that right after that moment. And it generally doesn't feel good. So to kick it off, for you, the best advice I'll ever give you is to stop talking trash about anyone. Do not gossip, do not talk about them, and I'm going to tell you about why this is so important. So I'd like to talk about how this one little thing seems so small, but it can be killing your professional career and how everybody views you in your personal life. So to clear up, what I'm referring to as trash talking is any kind of gossip or talking about others, or even talking about another company or somebody else's work, or anything in a negative light, anything that puts them down or has any kind of negative connotation verbally or attitude-wise that you are trying to put upon or point out on others. So it seems like there's a number of reasons why people gossip, and I've wrote down a few reasons that I've found. The number one reason seems to be is jealousy, and the person's actually jealous of the others' either results that they're getting, and maybe they don't like how they did it, or they are jealous of them in any other way of how they're doing it, how well somebody is doing something. In general, it's just jealousy. So second reason is inferiority, and that comes with feelings that they're just not good enough compared to the other. The other person is superior in what they're doing, how they're doing it, who they are, their social circle, their friends, their business, their money, all that stuff. That person is seeing them as superior, so what they're trying to do is rip them down to their level so they don't feel so low. Third reason is lack of courage, and this really goes right into having the fear of confrontation, and they can't bring themselves to actually bring up the topic with another person, so they have to talk about it behind their back because they're just too scared and too much of a wuss to actually confront them. Another one is really weird, but it's admiration, and this one's kind of funny to put into words, but it's when somebody actually likes them and they want to be them, can want to be them, so that they kind of try to control their feelings towards them of almost like a love or admiration for them, which is offsetting. They're not necessarily comfortable with it. So what they can control is how much hate they have. And it's something that's just easily done, and you can easily just talk bad about somebody. Even if you like them, it makes you feel better in a sense, is what they're feeling. Yeah, it's just kind of like a sense of control. So that's one reason. Oh, and then this other one is a strange one. It's because of weakness. So if somebody has pulled a power move of some sort over you, such as if you got fired or if you got beat up, you lost some kind of a battle with them in power, and you feel like there's not much you can do. This is a good example of why somebody would, just talk all about somebody like, oh, that person, blah, 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 blah. Because they can't confront them. They can't do much about it at this point. So how are people who gossip perceived? So the majority of people actually view people who gossip very negatively. They are perceived as lower than, negative, generally frowned upon. This one study of 128 people, they found that high-frequency gossipers were perceived as less powerful and were liked less than low-frequency gossipers. And those who gossiped negatively were less liked than those who gossiped positively. So this was a common thing I found. It wasn't always worded or had a actual great study to it, and there are some variables, but it's kind of a common thing. Now, if you wanted to keep digging, you could find more research to support this. I couldn't find much information to oppose it. Now, I will mention the counter argument of why gossiping is okay, just because I want to put in the opposite side so you can make up your mind. And I think that by the end of this video, you'll agree with me that it's really important to just cut out the gossip. One of the reasons I've found that people tend to gossip is because it makes them feel like another person is interested. However, interest does not mean attraction or attention or anything that's necessarily good. It's just something that's catching an eye. It's just like a flash of light, like they're gonna notice it. However, as I say, correlation does not imply causation. So this does not mean positive, it just means what it is. So another reason that people tend to gossip is because of bonding reasons, and they feel like they can get closer and be like, oh, hey, yeah, blah, 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 sucks or something. And that feeling can actually quickly dissipate, and it's found that it affects others' trust and reputation towards that person, but it's just not an instant thing, kind of starts to happen a little bit delayed. Personally, I found that this kind of comes with like a very passive move on my thing. So for example, some guy at the bar is like, oh, stupid bartender, right? You know, and I'll just be like, yeah, great. And I just want to get out of there because like, stop talking to me, you know, like I don't want to talk to somebody like that. Another reason that people do it is because it pulls rank. And yeah, and in some business ways, this actually can help you momentarily, but in the long run, it won't. Most people want to do business with somebody they know, and especially out of people they know, somebody they like. So maybe you'll get a sale, but it's not going to last. There's no point of doing that business if you can't ever do it again. So, you know, people like to feel connected to equals, and they don't respond well to superiority in a personal life or a business relationship. The last one is conversation. People just talk because they have nothing better to say. They're searching. It's easy to just look at something, complain about it. And you know the phrase Debbie Downer, like nobody wants to talk to that person, like not for a long time. And if they think about sharing something with somebody, they don't want to hear, oh, blah, you should do this. And like that, you kind of they just trash talking everybody. It's just like, who wants to talk to you? Just shut up, you know? So to kind of sum up these counter arguments, I found this one article and they kind of have these questions. And one of them is, do you trust those who speak about others? Do you admire those who exclude others? Do you respect those who feel superior to others? And do you esteem those who delight in others' suffering? And personally, no to all of those. I think it's really important to be weary of how you talk. What you say and what you talk about is a huge part of how you're perceived. Am I expecting and suggesting that you don't talk about anyone ever again? No, that's ridiculous. But there is ways that you can kind of guide yourself and catch yourself and do it kind of in a better manner. So the first one is to make sure that you don't do it negatively. So eliminate the kind of part of the conversation that's negative, keep it more factual. So if you saw somebody, you're telling somebody you saw somebody, say you're in the store and you say, oh yeah, I saw blank blank, and yeah, they just wouldn't shut up, you know. It's like, okay. And then you get rid of that part or replace it with, oh yeah, I saw whatever person, whatever in the store, and we just ended up talking for a very long time. Blah, 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 and then you can talk about what they've spoke about. If someone is talking and gossiping to you, they can pull you right in really quick with this and get you in this really like dark mindset of just things being awful. And I think that one of the best ways to stop that conversation is to suggest that they talk to somebody else about it, specifically the person they're talking about, or somebody who has some power in the situation. Try to bring that back to logic, because the emotional part of this conversation is in the toilet. It's just already negative and bad. So just drop it, get rid of it, dump it. Another thing is, if you want to talk about somebody else, talk about what it is that they're inspiring or how they're influencing you, and just like how they're affecting your life. And maybe you're inspired by something, or you're trying to learn a little bit about it, and you're just telling and sharing somebody something that's really positive change in your life, inspired by somebody. And you can even share how something great that they're doing and see if they've also heard it, and you can bond over a very positive thing, and maybe you guys can start at the same time. Maybe you'll inspire them just by being inspired. It's a far better directory than trying to rip someone down. So if you want to get closer to being your best self and leveling up as a person, professionally and personally, just start cutting out the gossip and start thinking positively, and actually start working on a trajectory that's beneficial to you and others, and you all can grow together instead of trying to rip everybody down and just having everything tumble, metaphorically. So if you are the person who is actually doing the gossiping and trash talking, you're just setting an example to the people that you're talking to that a judgmental behavior and negative emotions are tolerated. I personally find that if you just have solid boundaries on what you want in your life, you will get farther faster. Weird thing is that I think that a lot of people try to be funny by talking trash, like, oh yeah, look at this. It's like most people find them annoying and negative, and that humor is a lot of times just placating that person. And hopefully this video points out that that person trying to make you laugh by talking trash about somebody is actually the one with a problem. The other person just doesn't even know it's happening. They definitely don't have a problem with the situation. It's that person talking trash. And if that friend is talking trash and talking about others, they have a higher likelihood of actually talking trash about you. It wouldn't be a surprise, I'm sure. We all want to have a better life. You don't have to rip others down to grow yourself. We should be living our lives representing who we are and how we want to be treated and respected. And talking trash and gossiping is just a demonstrable force against how you are viewed, respected, talked about. And in the end, if you get that raise or not, or leveled up or called upon for a certain thing, people want to work with people they like. And talking trash and gossiping is generally not liked. So to conclude my argument, there's an old aphorism that says, strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and weak minds discuss people. So I'm Jeff. I hope you liked this video. If you did, comment below, share it if you would, that would be great. And leave a comment of somebody who inspires you and what it is about them. Let's change the conversation to something positive. And until next time, peace.